Hello and welcome to the Abundantly Successful Show, the show for conscious entrepreneurs who have the deep desire to turn their passion to successful and thriving business, all while making a huge impact in the world. I'm your host, Shannon, also known as the creator of possibilities. And in today's interview, in today's episode, we have an amazing topic. We're going to talk about speak your path to cash and how you can really attract a flood of ideal clients through speaking. And our guest expert today is Mark Granger. And unfortunately, his wife, which is his partner, was not able to be here today, but he's going to tell you all about her so you can get to know her a little bit as well. Both of those powerhouses are really the world's leading authority on the business of speaking. So if you've ever thought about getting into speaking, like myself, so I'm definitely going to learn a lot today too, we're going to cover a lot of great ground, today to help you get a better understanding of, the power of really getting out there and speaking, how to really go about that, and also other, golden nuggets. We're definitely going to be sharing a lot of great content today. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Mark. Hello, Mark. Great to have you here.
Well, thank you, Kay. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to share what has become my wife and I's passion, and fortunately, just a wonderful way of being able to serve the world and the planet through a movement called Big Impact. It's unfortunate that Shannon isn't here today. She's actually she's getting a detox this week. One of the things that we've really been focusing on is the importance of health as business owners, so it's really important that you put health first, and with the hustle and bustle, it can be really, really easy to overdo it. So we're both really putting a lot of emphasis into our health, and she's getting a great detox at Optimum Health Institute this week. And
sounds fun.
But I know exactly what she would be saying, so I'm excited to share with everyone today the benefits of speaking. We've had the luxury in the last 5 years. We built the Big Impact brand. We're actually, people call us the world's authority on the business of speaking, where we've helped, by now we've helped almost 400 people, entrepreneurs, experts, and even politicians be able to use speaking to generate a movement and attract clients. In fact, our tribe today has generated almost $20 million in their own businesses using speaking. It's really quite remarkable, and it's the product of a system. So I'm excited to share with your audience how this system works and how simple it can be to start attracting clients through speaking.
Yeah, I'll definitely going to be picking your brain, but let's start out with why is really speaking so powerful when it comes to business? And you mentioned creating a movement. So let's start with that. Why is it so powerful?
Well, I think first and foremost, in today's world, how do you capture people's attention? Everybody's chattering, everybody has an opinion, everybody's trying to sell something, right? And so how do you capture their attention? What I love about speaking is that the instant you take the stage, people unconsciously give you authority. So you instantly are an expert. And then the key is to making them, proving them right when you actually speak, and really allowing them to go, wow, they're even more of an expert than I thought. But as soon as you're able to position your expertise and you follow a system that allows people to see you can help them, now they instantly are leaning in and saying, wow, this is someone I could consider hiring. And you're not even done with your talk. So it's great because a lot of speakers come to us because they're not getting clients, they're getting compliments at the end of their talks. And so that's the beginning of a movement. We also think it's really important to tie into your talk, Kay, really the ability to get really clear of what is your no more. What is it that you stand for? In the world today, Mother Earth is dying. Last year we had over 1 trillion pounds of garbage put into our oceans. That's one thing. So there's that. Politics are broken. So people are wanting to fix politics. The healthcare system, completely broken. It's all about, we're saying skills instead of pills. So what is it that you stand for? What is your no more that you can tie to your message and your business can stand behind? Because then your business is seen as authentic and it's something that's healing the planet as opposed to destroying it. So when you can have a nice big vision of change for people that you're tying into your message, tying into your business, tying into your service, now you have something that's really powerful and people lean in.
Mm-hmm. But now when it comes to, entrepreneurs, at what stage should they say, okay, now it's time for me to get into speaking? Right at the beginning? Should they wait a little bit? Or what would be a best way to, at what stage should they consider speaking?
Outstanding. So that's a great question. So what we find after working with so many clients, I mean, we've taken through our university over 400, but we've had in our programs, we've had over 2,000 over the last 5 years. And what we find is that really, truly brilliant experts and speakers are spinning their wheels trying to figure out business. You know, there's so many things that you're told, and conventionally people say you need a website, you need a business card, you need funnels, you need to have a lead magnet, all these things that you're learning from the internet gurus. And the thing is speaking comes before all of that. The most important thing you got to look at, we basically talk about the 3 phases of business. So phase 1 in your business is profitability. You got to get making money right away. And the problem is a lot of entrepreneurs put off making money to get ready. And that is the biggest challenge that we have to help people overcome to change their belief. So phase 1, you need to be working on profitability. What are the things that generate me income right now? And what are the skills I need to acquire to be able to make that money and to generate revenue? Because as a business owner, you are creating a machine that brings in money, and then you scale, you get employees, and you pay a lot of money out so that your movement has meat. Okay, so you want to look at business as being the mechanism of change in the world. And that's the new change, is a business owner that's got good, solid business skills can really make a difference. So phase 1 is all about profitability. You got to open up your bank accounts. You got to get clear of your messaging. You got to know who is your ideal client and how to talk to them. That is the foundation of your business. And once you get that dialed in, then you can move on to phase 2. Phase 2 is going to be more like leverage. Okay, this is where at phase 1, you can use speaking to make $10,000 a month. Shannon and I, in our first 10 months of business, we made over $400,000 in our business without a website or a business card. We did it all through small speaking engagements in your own backyard. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that sounds great. So I definitely want to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So that's the key, is being able to understand that we believe the best place to start is speaking. You know, you've got to get clear of your programs and packages, your pricing, how to talk about what you do, and the problem that your business solves for your ideal client. Those things there is what most entrepreneurs are struggling with. They're not sure who their ideal client is. They're not sure of the problem that they're solving for their ideal client, and they don't know how to talk about that problem in a way that gets their client to lean in. And so whether you're doing internet marketing or not, if you don't have that dialed in, your internet marketing won't work. It's what makes you attractive to your clients. So we show you how to get clear on who your ideal client is, how to talk about the problem you solve, and how to take stages in your own backyard. You don't need a big 100-person, be a big keynote speaker. You can speak at the local chamber of commerce, a women's group, a men's group. You can talk at a business fair, expos, all of them right there in your own hometown. And you've got a lot of low-hanging fruit. If you're let's say that you're a health coach, or maybe you're a banker, or maybe you're a mortgage lender. It doesn't matter what business you're in. You can use speaking to take the stage in your local market, rock your talk, and attract clients immediately. And then once you're around $10,000 a month or so, now you're ready for phase 2, which is leverage. And this is where you're going to bring in more systems and more team. This is when you build your website, you start to create your brand, you start to you hire a couple people, maybe a bookkeeper and a personal assistant. So because you're going to be getting clients, and now you're busy and you need help and you need support. And then once you have all that dialed in, then you're ready for phase 3. Once you're around a couple $300,000 a year, now you're ready for automation, which is really the allure of the internet. Most people think, oh, I'm going to put up a little lead magnet and I'll have a little funnel and then I'll just get this flood of clients. Well, it doesn't work that way. Most of the time when you look at these companies that are making a lot of money doing it that way, they've got a team of experts that they're paying to work 60 hours a week, sometimes for 6 months, to put together these big launches that are so sexy. And so being able to find a simple way to do that, we haven't been able to find. The simplest thing to do is to start with speaking, build your business there. And what we love about that is if you want to have a part-time business and make a cool $100,000 a year using speaking, you can do that. And that's what we show people to do. If you want to scale it and create a big business, like our clients, Jim and Cindy Padilla. I mean, they work on conscious enrollment, showing people how to sell from the heart, and they've been able to generate almost $2 million in their business in the last 3 years, all through this program of Speak Your Path to Cash. So once you get clear on who your ideal client is and how to talk about it, you're ready to take stages.
Well, now, what about the fear of speaking? Because I know for me, that was like the biggest fear. I mean, now I'm overcoming it. I'm doing a lot of virtual speaking, but I know there's so many people that just the thought of, I got to go on stage, I got to go in front of the camera, oh my God, right? They just want to run. So how can someone really leverage speaking? Because I mean, I know I've heard it all over, like speaking is like the best way to get clients and, speak to many, sell to many, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, how do you really get over that fear of, shoot, I got to stand in front of all these people?
That's right. So you have this fear of speaking that makes people kind of shrink, and afraid to take the stage. And there's a lot of options that we share with people on the whole inner game of speaking on helping you overcome that. The first thing is having real clarity. Most people, most entrepreneurs lack clarity about what they would talk about, how to transition from their talk into their offer. They feel uncomfortable with selling from the stage. They're not sure. They're not really sure how all that works, and so that lack of certainty creates a lot of anxiety. So there's a lot of that that's a part of that. The other thing is that we have discovered that it's not so much about the fear of speaking as it is about the fear of being seen. And oftentimes, for the first time when an entrepreneur is taking the stage, one, they're promoting their own stuff, which they've never done. And that brings up a lot of shit for people. It really does. How do you present yourself? And how do you present yourself? How do you show up and present? And then are you able to persuade from a place of authenticity? And so a lot of these are the messages that are going on in someone's head when they're taking the stage. So the other thing is that business, entrepreneurship, is full of fear. Everything that you do, you're handling money. Oftentimes we don't have a good blueprint around how to ask for money, deal with money. And whether you're not making money and you're struggling, or you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, you just have a different problem with money. Money's always going to get you out of your comfort zone. Business is always going to get you out of your comfort zone. So if you want to be successful in business, you must learn how to face your fears. And there's things like tapping and breath and visualizing and mantras and all these things. I think the most important thing is to get into a state. So like, for instance, you see any great speaker behind stage, they're going to be getting into state. And so like for what Shannon and I do like some voice warm-ups. Let's try it. Okay. So one of the best voice warm-ups you can do is to talk really high like a girl. So, hi, Kay, how are you? See, my voice needs to get warmed up. So, hi, Kay, how are you this morning? I just wanted to tell you thank you for letting me be here. I'm so excited to be sharing my message with everyone. Okay. This starts to warm up the vocal cords. Another thing to do is put your arms over your head like in the symbol of victory. Okay. They've done studies that show when you do this, it shifts your attitude. All the way from Amy Cuddy's work with her TED Talk on body language, how when they did a study of people that did this before a job interview, the ones that held their hands in victory over their head before they went into the interviewed like 50% better than those that didn't. And did you know that a blind person, when they cross a finish line or feel some form of victory, they will put their arms over their head even though they've never seen anyone do that? So it's wired into our DNA as a feeling of victory and winning. So these are things that you can do. All fear is a matter of what are you focusing on, what are the words you're using in your mind, and how are you using your body. And great speakers learn how to use their body. And great entrepreneurs learn how to use their body, because speaking isn't just on the stage. We're speaking right now. This is a form of public speaking. Yeah. And you just can't see the head nods and eyeballs to the degree that you can when you're on stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, one thing, like what you mentioned, like, about, what's going on in our head. I mean, I believe like fear, it's like the body experiences the same way as excitement. It's just like, I believe the thoughts that we put to the feeling is what determines, are we going to the fear mode or are we going into, yay, I'm excited, right?
Well said. I like that.
Yeah. So now when it comes to speaking, because I mean, there are so many different ways to speak, from keynote to free to paid, can you maybe talk a little bit about that? Like, what would be the best way to get started with that? Should we go paid, free, keynote,
Excellent.
and those type of things? And what's the difference? Because one of the things that I always struggle with, like, what exactly is the difference between a keynote and actually, selling to, like, speak to sell?
That's a really great thing. Shannon and I have created what we call signature talk marketing, which you're using speaking to attract leads to your clients. That's to attract leads of clients. That's the best way, because if you're inexperienced, to go onto a stage and try to sell from the stage when you don't really know how to sell very effectively, it can come off to an audience as a kind of pushy or offensive, and they don't really see you. So we believe in the free talk is the best way to start, okay? Let's say that you do want to be like a keynoter, like a Les Brown, you got to be hungry, or Bill Clinton, who I'm just so glad to be here with everyone today. I'm just thrilled to be on the stage with all of you today. Any of those people are going to get paid really great money as a keynote speaker. The challenge is nowadays you need to have a form of celebrity behind your name. If you're a Bill Clinton, if you're a Reese Witherspoon, if you're anyone that's got kind of celebrity behind your name, it's really easy to get keynotes. And you don't even really have to be that great of a speaker, because the main thing that they're trying to do is to get an audience. And so they want to hire someone who has a draw. If you don't have a draw or you don't have a name, then you have to be a glorified salesperson to get keynotes. You're having to get a list of potential places to speak. You're having to talk to meeting planners and promoters about why they should put you on their stage. They're going to want to see a video of you, so you're going to need time on stage to get video footage. All this costs money and time, and then you're picking up the phone and you're having to call and talk to people all day long for several weeks to be able to close that deal on a keynote. And if you're lucky, as someone who doesn't have celebrity, you're lucky to make $3,000 to $5,000 doing that. So now you're looking at, wow, okay, I just spent 3 months on the phone every week talking to the promoter to get this speaking gig, and okay, they paid my way, and they paid my way there, my hotel, and I made a few $1,000s. That's a victory, but it's not a business. Okay, so keynotes, it's better to be able to use your free speaking and doing your own events, what we call signature talk marketing, and be able to generate revenue doing that and a reputation doing that, and then you get invited as a keynote speaker, and that's the easier way to do it. So there's speak to market, or signature talk marketing, where you're taking free speaking gigs. You're using the system to be able to get a boatload of leads that you can turn into clients. And then there's keynotes, or then there's speak to sell, where you take the stage, and from the stage, you're offering your product. Okay, that just takes a higher level skill set. You graduate into that. And then you have keynotes. And keynotes, like I said, are something that you need to have someone booking those for you, or you're doing it yourself. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. The next thing really after that is to really seek to do a TED Talk. And a TED Talk is really the best thing to come after that, because that starts to create your thought leadership. We call these the 5 business models of speaking. So you have speak to market, speak to sell, keynote, TED Talk, and then the last one is really a lecturer. And this is going to be like a Marianne Williamson model, where you write a book. And then once you write your book, you create a small little program, and then you hit the speaking circuit to sell your book and bring people into your program. And you do that last because you've already created this great community and people who know who you are. And so when you bring out your book, you've got tens of thousands of people ready to buy it and ready to come see you speak. So the easiest place to get started is with free, small speaking engagements in your own backyard. You can make tens of thousands of dollars every month doing just that.
Now, actually, there are 2 questions that I just would like to ask you. Like, for one, like, what do you do if you already have a book? Like, for example, me, I already have, 2 books, and I know other people, they want to get into speaking, but they already have a book. So should they already, use that book as well, or should they hold off, since you mentioned that, like, that would be the 5th stage?
So one of the challenges is that it used to be right before the internet, having a book made you very, very special. It doesn't really make you special that much anymore. Most people, when they buy a book, it becomes shelf help. So while it's important to be an author and it's in you, Shannon and I have books in us, we also are building a business to bring us into thought leadership. So if you've already created a book, one of the best things you can do is take your book or 2 books with you on stage at your local speaking gig. Okay, maybe you're going to do a meetup, or you talk to someone else who's having a meetup, and they're like, "I'd love to have you on my stage." And when you take the stage, you have these 2 books, and you talk about how you're an author. So you position yourself as an authority, and then you give that book away to people you give that book away. You use your book as a way to position you as a leader and as an expert. You're not going to make money you're not going to make money from your book. You make money because of the expertise you're able to position yourself as because of the book. And that's a little bit of a skill set that you need to learn.
Okay, well, thanks so much for sharing that. Now, the other question I have for you is like, because you mentioned like, doing like in the back, in your local area, in your backyard, basically. So how do you fill the room? Because I think that's where most people have a hard time with, like, yeah, they can create this talk, they set up the event, but then what? How do you really get the seats filled?
So as part of the Signature Talk system, it's really important to understand that you want to be having your own events. Okay, so what starts first is you take the stage and you offer what we would consider. Let me first break this up into what happens first. When you take the stage, there's basically 3 steps to the Speak Your Path to Cash system. The first one is to get speaking gigs, and you want to get speaking gigs with other people that already have an audience. All right, you don't want to try to get souls and seats on your own. The best way to fill a room for your own events is through other speaking engagements. Okay, so you get other people that are connectors or community leaders that are having events, and you let them give you 10 minutes, an hour, however much time you can take on the stage. And the thing to do is then you offer a free gift. That free gift could be one of 2 things. It can be a strategy session, like an enrollment conversation, or it can be a full scholarship ticket to your event. Okay, and that's the way that you can get 50, 75, 100 people in your talk, is by doing several talks leading into your event. That's the best way to fill it. And then at your event, you offer your back-end hot, juicy program. This should be at least a $2,000 program or higher. A transformational program is what we totally believe in. If you already know how to enroll, double that price. I'm thinking of Sarah Riley. She's a functional nutritionist, a client of ours. And she'd been through hell, Kay. She traveled the world with her own health issues and learned a lot in that process. And so, I mean, she charges $7,500 for a full, it takes like 3-month gut repair of your belly. Okay. And she's able to take this. She just took the stage in January and February. She spoke at a chiropractor's office, and he had about 20 people there. She raised she made $27,000, having people come into through strategy sessions. So she had a couple, like a $450 package and her $7,000 package. The next month, she did it again at a local martial arts studio, and there she made $25,000. So by having a nice high-end package, the ability to rock her talk, she doesn't have to deal with any internet or anything. She's got EMF issues, so she can't have a lot of technology. But she loved it. She went in, she rocked her talk, got a boatload of new clients, and made $50,000, which was about 10 times what she had made a couple years earlier when she was struggling.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
In 2 months, without a website, any of that. It's pretty remarkable when you get dialed in on this when you get dialed in on that. So, the best way to be able to fill your room is to use small speaking gigs, offer what would be called a scholarship, so they don't have to pay any money. They can put some money down that they get back when they come to the event, because a lot of people won't show. But that's the way you get people there, because seminar goers like to go to seminars. So if you can speak at events, then they like to go to events. And that's the best way to fill your own event if you don't already have a name for yourself.
Nice. So basically, like, one thing that you just mentioned is that she went to, you said, like, a chiropractor. So that would be a great way, because they already have an audience there. So basically, as a speaker, you can tap into theirs, and then... that's pretty interesting. Okay.
That makes sense, because she met him. I don't know where she met this chiropractor, but she's a functional nutritionist. He's a chiropractor, so they share a philosophy about health and wellness, and they just built a connection, and he was already doing some classes and stuff for his office. And he loved what she was up to because she knows how to talk about what she does. That's what we taught her. And so he's, well, I want you on my stage. And she's like, great. And so she rocked her talk, got a boatload. I mean, I think there was only like 20 people in that class, and yet she made $27,000. Mm-hmm. Pretty remarkable.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound as difficult as it seems getting into speaking.
That's the thing, is it's very simple. It's not necessarily easy because you do have to skill up. You have to acquire some skills. You need a system. You have to be willing to work to get it all dialed in. And you have to be willing to, what I call, get out on the skinny part of the branch and be willing to take some risks. But that's what a business, I mean, when you're an entrepreneur, that's what you sign up to do. You know, you're a risk taker. You want to create a movement. You want to make something happen. And speaking is the best, fastest way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Now, if someone, that's listening says, you know what, I want to get started, what would be the first thing to start with to really get into the speaking now?
Great. So the best thing that you want to be able to do is you have to be able to talk about what you do. When someone asks you what you do, you need to be able to you need to be able to turn that into an enrollment conversation. For example, Sarah Riley, that same functional nutritionist, when there's been, I think, about 5 or 6 times now, after yoga class, she goes to Whole Foods, and at Whole Foods, she's at the bulk food section, or the nutrition section, and people ask her questions, and they start to talking. She just starts a conversation. Well, she knows her shit when it comes to nutrition, so they're like, well, tell me more. What do you do? And as soon as they ask her, what do you do? She has a system because she knows what her clients are struggling with. So here's what you need to do to start with. You've got to know the problem that you solve for your client, okay? And you got to know the way they language that problem. What we know about entrepreneurs that come to us is that they're brilliant and they know it, but they're spinning their wheels with how to get clients, how to bring all the pieces of their business together and to be able to talk about what they do in a way that gets people to lean in. They're overwhelmed with all the choices of how to market themselves, where to start, and they're spinning their wheels and they're feeling frustrated with the lack of clarity. Okay. Now I know what I just said spoke to the hearts of thousands of people listening to this. Why? Because we've worked with our clients and we know what their challenges are. Okay. So you've got to be able to talk about what are the challenges are for your client and the problem that you solve and the language that you use. Number one. Number two, you've got to be able to talk about your expertise. You've got to be able to let people know why you're a badass. You got to stand in your power and proclaim what it is that you can do for your clients so that they know that you're confident and in your power. Those two things are required to get onto a stage. Why? Because if I'm someone, let's say I'm a regular dude in any particular town across America or anywhere in the world really, and I have a community, a following. And once a month, maybe I bring 25, 50 people together and we celebrate whatever I'm passionate about. Let's say it's volleyball, okay? And we have a whole meeting about volleyball, okay? Well, if I'm going to bring you onto my stage, it needs to be relevant to my audience. But number two, I need to know that you're going to make me look good to my audience, that I'm not going to lose credibility by putting you on my stage. So when they say, well, what do you do? And you stumble over your words, it's fuzzy, it's not specific, they can't understand the value, or what is it that you talk about on stage and they're not clear of the value that you offer from the stage, they're never going to put you on that stage. So that's number one, is you got to get really good at talking about what you do and knowing the problems you solve for your client. The second thing is you got to identify the speaking gigs that are near you. Take some time to get on the internet and look at where you can go speaking. I mean, just say speaking. Like I did one it was Walnut Creek speaking opportunities. And I found 2 or 3 where people are speaking. And you just call them up, build a relationship, get on their stage. Now, here's the key. When you call them up, do not say, can I get on your stage? That does not work, okay? So you build rapport. You have to build rapport, build connection with them. And you say, I'm doing speaking as well. Are you looking to get more speaking gigs? Okay, you want to talk to what they want. Anybody who has an audience, most likely, is looking for speaking gigs. And you say, great, I'm looking for speaking gigs. You're looking for speaking gigs. Let's see how we can cross-pollinate and help each other get on stages. Now you've started the conversation. And they say, well, what do you do? And you know how to talk about what you do, and then they'll say, well, you should be on my stage. And you're like, great, let's make that happen. And you make that happen right there locally. So those are the skills that if you get those two things dialed in, and then you have a system for what to say once you're on stage, you're off to $10,000 months before you know it. That's why people come to us, is that within 90 days, they can monetize their message very powerfully.
Yeah, most definitely. But now, what about creating the speech, like creating the signature talk? How can you really hone it in to the point where you know that your message is going to be so powerful that people are going to be sitting in the chair like, oh my God, I need to hear more?
Okay. So there's two ways of looking at it. If you want to be a content-oriented speaker who educates, which is what most people want to do, that's fantastic. And the only challenge with that is that will get you compliments, not clients. Okay. The second way is what we believe in, is that you structure your talk persuasively, specifically to get clients. Now, that doesn't mean you don't educate. It means you educate differently. So what we have you do is you typically, when you create your talk, you bring up the themes that they are most challenged with. So for instance, in our Speaker Path to Cash signature talk, we talk about spinning your wheels. We talk about the things that are keeping you from getting and illuminating that problem, because people make decisions when they understand you can solve a problem. So here's the basic nuts and bolts. You've got to create your talk in a way that allows you, you've got to create your talk in a way that allows your audience to see you solve a problem for them. You don't, and then you give them an opportunity to learn more by offering them a strategy session or an enrollment conversation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it really goes back to knowing your ideal client. Like, I hear so many people say, well, I work with anyone that wants change. Anyone that wants to have a happy life or you live healthy, I work with anyone. So it sounds like that in everything that you do in your business, and especially also in speaking, you really got to know exactly who you're working with, what their problem is, in order to really deliver the solution.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, Kay. And I mean, this was my own struggle. I mean, here's Shannon and I mean, we've now used the Speaker Path to Cash system to build almost a $5 million business in the last 5 years. Absolutely remarkable, but it wasn't always that way. I mean, I had worked with some of the biggest brands in the world before Shannon and I came together. I had worked with Harley Davidson, Porsche, Aflac, Marriott International, helping them with branding strategy. So I knew branding, I knew marketing, and I was really, really good at it. So I'm like, I'm ready to go out there and be on my own and start my own business. And what I didn't realize is how important the niche was. And I struggled. I went through 11 different iterations of my niche over 7 years. And it was up and down, and it was painful. I could not figure out how to talk about what I do. I could not figure how to bring my brilliance, my ideas into the words. And here I was a wordsmith. So I couldn't bring them into the words that mattered, and it was very, very painful. And I remember putting my hands on the sink and looking in the mirror, and I'm like, Mark, you are out of integrity. You're not speaking. You're not doing yoga. I was overweight from the stress, and I finally said, that's it. And I just got really, really clear that I wanted to work with brilliant, amazing women in business. And it wasn't long after that I met Shannon. And so it can be a struggle to get clear on that. The key is that there's so many marketing messages out there today that if you're a generalist, it doesn't resonate with anyone. Your message has to land in their heart. We call it leaving your heart print upon them. So your message has to land in their heart. And that's why you have to choose a niche, a specific group of people in a specific problem that you solve. If you don't, you'll be like I was, spinning your wheels, being an undiscovered expert instead of a thought leader.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it sounds like, just like speaking really, and just from all the things that you shared, it really sounds like that speaking can get you a lot of clients relatively quickly then, right?
Absolutely. You just need a system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me explain how you can make money on that. So let's say you have a $2,000 program, okay? 90-day, $2,000 transformational program. You go in and you rock your talk. Maybe there's 30 people in the room. Okay, you know how to talk about what you do. You know how to go through it all. At the very end, you offer your strategy session. You do it right, you will get a minimum of 50% of the room to say yes. Okay, so now you've gotten 15 people that have raised their hand and said, I'll have a conversation with you. That sounds great. You go home, out of that 15 that you get on the phone, just say that you convert 30%. pretty average, okay? That's 5 new clients at $2,000 each. That's a $10,000 a month from one speaking gig. Now that's a simple theoretical example, but I mean, Shannon and I have been able to we've turned a 1 minute of stage time now up to $185,000. Okay.
Just in 1 minute.
Because we had a strategy, in that 1 minute, we drove them to our booth. At our booth, we brought them to our event. At our event, they signed up for our program. That initial one was $80,000. Now those clients have referred people into our program. So that 1 minute of stage time has now resulted in almost $200,000 for our business. And it all comes down to a system. So here's the key of what you need in your content. I want to leave your people with this, okay? So here's what you need in your content. You need to be able to do your personal story. Your personal story needs to be short and concise, okay? Basically, you're going to do your credibility, meaning what makes you a badass. You need to do your vulnerability. What's shaped you as a person that's kept you, where did you struggle? And then you go into your content, okay? Then you have an upswing and you go into your content. Typically, you're going to have 1 to 3 content themes that are going to illuminate the problems that your clients are experiencing. All right. And then you have your call to action, which is your strategy session or maybe a full scholarship ticket to your event. Those are the 5 things. Now you add into that cause marketing, meaning that thing that you care about most, that thing that injustice in the world that you want to bring, no more around. Shannon's really big on women's empowerment and equal pay for women. So you add that, you add some kind of cause that you believe in to that talk, and now it's very inspirational, it's very motivating, it's a vision that allows people to step into, that they can become a part of your community that's making change on the planet. You put those things together and you've got yourself a signature talk that can convert.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Mark, I think we covered a whole lot of great things. Is there anything else that you think we should cover before we come to the end?
Well, I think it's important for people to understand that you need a system. What we've given you today is great information, and I've seen people who don't have the step-by-step in front of them really, really struggle. So I'd love to offer a free gift. This is an opportunity for people to really kind of see who Mark and Shannon are, to get everything I explained to you in a report. It's called a Rockstar Speaker Blueprint. And with that, it gives you an opportunity to see if we could be mentors that can support you while at the same time providing you content that can get you started right away. So the thing to do is to pull out your cell phone. This is a text opt-in, so just go ahead and pull out your cell phone, and you're going to text Big Impact. That's BIGIMPACT, all lowercase, all one word, okay, to 384. Let me make sure I get this right. 38470. I believe that's what it is.
And I got the link. I got the number and the word in the show notes. So make sure to go to abundantly-successful.com for the show notes, and the information will be there.
Very good. Yeah, 38470. You text that. It'll allow you to opt in, and you'll get that delivered right to your email.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Mark. I definitely learned a whole lot from that. Definitely is going to help me as well, to finally get on stage. That's been my dream for quite a while, so I definitely learned a lot from you today. So, thank you so much for being here. But now, if anyone else would like to, get a hold of you or learn a little bit more about you guys, would you like to share, your website or anything like that, how they can find out more about you?
Yeah, the best thing to do would be to go ahead and take advantage of that text opt-in. You can go to mybigimpact.com to learn more about what we do. But I would encourage you to just go ahead and text Big Impact to 38470. That's going to give you some meat to chew on and be delivered right to your inbox. And Kay, I want to say to you, thank you for providing people, experts, the opportunity to spread their message through your platform. That shows that you're being a leader, and it's exciting to see other business owners really embrace what the world needs right now. And it's through people like you that we can make a bigger difference. And let's get you on some stages. There's no reason to be waiting. I think that you would be fantastic on stage.
I'm definitely working on it.
Good.
And also, it goes right back to you. I would not be able to put this platform together if it wouldn't have been for, amazing experts like you and everyone else that I brought on. So thank you so much for, taking your time to come here and share all the amazing content that you did. I walked away with a lot of great content, a lot of gold nuggets. I'm pretty sure the audience did too. So thank you so much for being here. It was definitely a pleasure.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
And I also want to thank you guys, for being here. So if you really want to get into speaking, if you have that drive like me, that inner knowing that you need to go on stage, you belong on stage, and I really hope that we were able to get you some insights today on how you can really leverage speaking to blow up your business, to really make that huge impact. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about that. So, you really want to get out there. I mean, this show is really to help you make that big impact. And I really hope that, what Mark shared today, speaking, yes, it's scary, but it doesn't have to be. Just like we talked about earlier, I mean, it's really all a mindset. I'm all about mindset. So, you can choose how you feel about it. So if you rather want to have fear about speaking or use it as excitement, he shared some great tips on, like power, right? Achievement. Right. So, I'm super grateful that you're here, that you're tuning in every week, and I hope you walked away with a lot of value, and I will see you next time. Make sure you go to abundantly-successful.com to look at the show notes. You can also tune in on iTunes, Stitcher, and all these other platforms, and I'm super grateful that you're here. I will see you next time, next week, in the next episode of the Abundantly Successful Show, and I hope you have an amazingly abundant and successful day.